Caesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us. Hey girl, had a long day, you tired from work. Throw me some dollars and I remove my shirt. You can touch me too, these are the perks. Free yourself, lose your mind and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk, and go berserk.
Make way for the bad guy.
What is up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Crowd Pleaser, the podcast that brings you the inside scoop on what it takes to be a male entertainer in today's age. I'm your host, Caesar the Crowd Pleaser, and I have two returning guests with me on the show today. Phenomenal guys, good friends of me. They inspire me to keep doing what I'm doing and even taking it to the next level. So let's go ahead and introduce them. First on the line, I got my boy. He's been on the show plenty of times, a fan favorite, as a matter of fact, and he was one of the last standing entertainers on my reality show. He's been entertaining for several years now. Good friend of Trayvon's as well. I want to welcome on the show Mandingo Jones. How you doing, brother?
I'm great. How are you doing, Caesar?
Doing swell, man. Doing swell. Had to shift my mental health day over a little bit to adjust for a teaching schedule. But other than that, man, life is good, man. Life is good.
Well, thanks for having me. Happy
Sweet.
to be here.
It's always great, man. Like I said, the crowd and listeners love you. They always want you back on the show, so I really appreciate it.
And I love them too.
Look at that. Already building that fan base. Damn. Next up, another phenomenal entertainer. This guy's shows have been known to be so good that they deserve to be on a concert stage with JT, with MJ, with Mia, every other acronym you can think of entertainer. Like, he needs to be up there with them. He's won more strip-offs than I can count. I want to welcome on the show Juice the Champ. What's up, man?
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, you heard it, man. Just living the life, man. Living the life. You just got off work, right?
Yeah, just leaving work.
See, so that dedication, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it very much.
Of course, man. You have to stay dedicated.
No joke, no joke. All right, so today's show, we're actually going to be discussing a little bit of a sore spot with the community as a whole, and we just want to kind of get the word out there about stuff that's going on, changing in the industry and things like that, which is actually the closing of Hard Bodies, the male entertainment club down in San Antonio that both my guests were residents at. But before we go into that, I want to go ahead and give a shout out to my Patreons at patreon.com/crowdpleaser. These are the people that really make it happen behind the scenes. Your all support of this show and everything I do really helps me continue going and is the reason why I push so much. So thank you so much. I want to give a shout out to Jessica Rogers, one of the Patreons, and actually to give a little back to you all. I'm randomly selecting people for giveaways and things like that. This week, we're going to be giving away one of my rocker horn hands that I created for the International Strip-Off last year. And I'll be sending that to a lucky Patreon that is randomly selected, and it will be Francile Riley. All right, Francile, you got it, so expect it in the mail probably within the week. So yeah, thank you so much for your support. Anyone can get on there. You guys get all kinds of cool behind the scenes perks, like the uncut version of this show. You get prints from my various photo shoots, as well as videos of me creating new acts, like the one I'm creating for the November strip off this year, which I'll mention in a little bit. So definitely check it out. You can sign up for as little as $1 a show. Definitely no commitment, but it really helps. It really does. And I really appreciate it. You'll even get a personalized thank you card in the mail from me. So thank you for all those that are on there, and thank you for all those that are going to be on there. Next up, La Bear Dallas. This is my home residency where I operate 5 nights a week, Wednesday to Sunday. All right, 7 p.m. to 2 a.m. We're out there throwing on a good show. Doesn't matter if it's a girls' night out, bachelorette party, birthday party, you name it. It's the Memorial Place. We leave you with a smile, 100%. So definitely check it out if you haven't. If you've been listening to this podcast, you already know what it's all about. So definitely don't hesitate. Bring your friends. Come on, check it out. Mandingo, is there anything you want to plug? The gallery?
Oh, yeah. The Gallery Club, our hours of operation, 7 to 10, Friday and Saturday nights. Also, whenever we have special events, maybe a standalone event like a strip off, even sometimes I know we have some live events coming up where we might perform before the other live events get there, and then we shift over to the events, the aforementioned events. But the Gallery Club, 7 to 10, Friday and Saturday. If you're looking for dancers, that's
Uh,
where you'll find us.
are you
What's up?
guys still doing private parties?
Yes, we are. We are doing private parties. You can inquire with us about that each individually. We are on social media. We will be giving those to y'all as the show goes along. So that's a way you can get a hold of us. And if you want to schedule anything like that.
Sweet. Yeah. So remember, just because you're in San Antonio, you don't have a dedicated club anymore, as we'll go into, you can still reach out to these guys individually, and they will bring that same great show that they do at their club to your home, your hotel, your bar. It doesn't matter, your private venue with you and your friends, and have a great time. Trust me, it is phenomenal. So definitely keep that in mind. All right, gentlemen, let's go ahead and dive right into it. So I'm coming from LeBaire, Dallas. I don't want to go ahead and give the spiel from as I interpret it. I'd rather have the boots on the ground tell me what's going on. So, Juice, in your own words, go ahead and just kind of give us the rundown as far as the factual of like what happened as far as the pseudo closing of Hard Bodies.
Okay, basically, little backstory for us. Me, myself, and Mandingo, and also CJ, we had traveled to Florida to do the Miss LeBaire contest there in April, and uh, normally, like around that time, it's normally a little bit busier in the club. There's a lot more women, but we did notice that there was a decline. Like it never really picked up at the club. Normally, really picks up around February or March, but we never really saw that increase or that number, of general population of women come in there. But we still went and did the contest over there. Everything was great. Came back and it was like a big shock to all of us that the club would be changing and shifting from a male review show from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. to now being just a male review show from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That was the original rundown and everything. So, to my understanding, basically, the club, was not generating enough, women or money to actually be able to run the club. That's That's my understanding of it. As far as dancers, dancers had, loyal, fans and, customers and, even the smaller number of general population that would come in there, they appreciated the show sometimes, but for the most part, most of the dancers were doing okay financially, but I do believe that, a lot of the club was suffering a lot, just keeping the lights on or, I don't know the extent of it, but I just know that, they had to make some type of change as a business.
Yeah, I not being a club owner myself, but understanding the fact that it does cost, lights, electricity, music rights, liquor licenses, all those things to keep a club running, that they have a pretty significant bottom line or a quota that they have to meet every month,
Yeah,
which obviously is significantly less than what the entertainers themselves have to do just being an independent contractor. And I
exactly.
mean, it's been said across the board the fact that the majority of the biggest reason why you see one male entertainment or ladies club versus a plethora of gentlemen's clubs is the fact that they make 5-6 times the amount of money as a venue than our
Oh yeah.
establishments do. So I couldn't tell you how
So
close to the wire we are. I mean, obviously, none of us are able to see the numbers because we don't own it. We don't see the printouts and stuff like that. But it's when there's that big of a margin. I have to say
Oh
that we're
yeah.
probably blade running a lot closer than most people would think.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's not like everyone, has this expectation of, oh, they're male strippers, they're always going to make a whole bunch of money. They're always private. There's always so many women throwing themselves. No, it's not necessarily like that. There might be, it, it was getting to the point where, I think only Saturdays and were decent and we were barely even getting, 100 women in there. There's probably like 80 if we had 120 that was good. And in the past, it had been, Saturday nights, Friday nights too. Friday nights would be like, 150 or something like that. Saturday could be almost 300 women.
When I
It
started,
was.
we were having 200 people Friday nights.
Hmm. And I started after, and it was like 150 or so. But then there was a time, when also too, like the whole Magic Mike surge that just forced everyone, every woman to, get out and check out the real thing. And almost every single night was busy. But
Oh yeah, for sure.
you know,
That was definitely a thing.
yeah, that was a like a business trend. It happened and then it kind of phased out. But for the most part, yeah, it was definitely a shock for us. We get back, we're like, what? Like, so we had a month of preparation of knowing that, in 1 month, 30 days, the club will go from being Hard Bodies Ladies Club to the Gallery Club. We were told not to say anything to anyone about it. We didn't want to. They didn't want us or the women that did go there to be scared of anything. Like that they were closing down completely. It wasn't like that. And then of course word gets out and things are misinterpreted and all kinds of rumors are started. And at one point I was moving to Dallas. That was a rumor, and I was moving. Then I was moving to Florida. And then I don't. There was a couple of different things. I think Dingo was moving to Houston. Was one of the rumors. It was just like a lot of girls were just trying to find,
Just something
trying
to say
to figure
about
out what was going on. Yeah, and trying to figure out what was going on. And we were really, for the most part, tight-lipped about it because we were just like, it's not our business. If they, it's just a place that we do work at, and we want to keep show be respectful of that, but it was a shock, and it was very difficult to get used to, like the shift. I mean, they've got rid of our stage. Like, part of our stage is gone. We had a catwalk on our stage, and that was one thing that um definitely separated our club from any of the LeBears or any other really male review show. They didn't have a catwalk, and the catwalk to me was like one thing that was also cool that we had, that was different, but also very scary. A lot of guys that I've seen come from out of town, they see this stage. The stage is already bigger, and then you got this catwalk, and then you got a second, like another stage area where you collect tips. And so it just looks very, very intimidating because it's like you're way up there and you're like got this long catwalk to walk across. And I feel like if you can conquer that, you're golden. But a lot of guys get scared of it. But they took that away, and it's like something that we all kind of worked on, like how to figure out that catwalk and how to get down to go collecting tips. But
yeah,
that was
actually
really sad.
physically seeing the club change,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like made it more real.
Yeah, it was really sad actually. Like, it's just, wow, one day, we have the catwalk, and then a couple of days later we all come back to work, and then boom, it's gone. We have nothing but hot seats. It's $5 hot seats. It's not, I mean, that's not necessarily a bad thing, but I mean, it's not the same. It's not like,
It's not the neighborhood you grew up in.
no, it's not. It was very, very hard. Like, I even got dizzy trying to get like adjusted to it. I was so confused. Like, I completely fell out of it doing it the first couple times.
Before we get too much into how it affects you guys, because I want to go a little more in depth into that a little bit later in the show. Mandingo. So Juice just kind of told us how it went down. Why do you think that happened? Like, do you have any thoughts or intel or anything as far as why the decline on income or flow through the club and why they decided to, okay, we're going to have to shift gears and stuff like that?
Yeah, I definitely do. Number one, location. Apparently, I've only been there since 2013. Hard Bodies had been around for much longer than that. So when they started at that location, it wasn't going to be competing with as many clubs around it. When you consider what you're actually doing when you're running a club like this, not only do you have to get the liquor license and all that and everything, the music, everything that, you know what I'm saying, y'all were discussing earlier, but you're also cutting out a large portion of the population. So you have people spending less money or giving less money to the club directly because, you know, the dancers work at the club, but they are a different entity when it comes to spending. What we're making, the club ain't making. What the club is making, we're not making. So even if you had women in there to tip us, they were a little bit, I don't know about some drinks. Why? Because you're on a strip now with a bunch of bars around you who are running drink specials all week. And you can't really run drink specials when you have cut out a huge portion of the population. So location is one of them. All that stuff that grew around it made it a lot harder to be able to actually serve drinks to people at your price because you're serving less people and more people are getting cheaper drinks around you. So even if you want to do some kind of drink specials, you're still getting hurt by the fact that you have everyone around you also doing the same thing and everyone can go in there. So
Yeah, you bring up a really good point. Real quick, just to interject, is the fact that a lot of places can cut back on drink special or on drinks with drink specials, especially for ladies, because they know for every 4 ladies that comes to the door for free and gets like their first drink free or something like that, they're gonna have 10 dudes walking in to talk to those girls. And so they're able to kind of chip away some of the cost on one side of it because they know they're going to make it back or even double it on the other side versus clubs like Hard Bodies and Le Bear can't afford to do that because, like you just mentioned, the amount of guys that walk through the door is very slim and the women are more entertained by the guys on stage than they are those guys.
right, like y'all's location is pretty good because y'all are pretty standalone. You know what I'm saying? So
Oh no, we still get
location,
some of that as well.
huh?
We still run into that as well. The same thing has happened. Like it's not just gentlemen's clubs down the street. There's various restaurants and bars as well now. And not only that, but I mean, even there being Le Bear versus gentlemen's clubs, like, I mean, it's 2018. There's plenty of women that go into gentlemen's clubs and have a good time as well. So I definitely see where you're going as far as when you're in an area by yourself, you're the only game in town.
Mhm.
You can kind of get away with a little more versus when you're kind of sharing the space with too much of your competition. It spreads everyone across thin.
Yeah, you're also charging a cover because it's a male review when all the bars around you aren't charging a cover. And if they are charging a cover, it's probably less because you're also like Juice mentioned earlier, like Magic Mike gave us a little boost. It gave strippers around the, I guess, if you want to say the world a boost, but um, it's still at the end of the day a niche market, an extremely niche market. Stripping in itself is a niche market, but male stripping is just so much smaller. There's just so much smaller of a window to be able to take something like Magic Mike and hold on to it. So while you're, and fortunately for us, there was a second one. You know what I'm saying? So while we're holding on to everything that comes with Magic Mike and what boosted this niche market, we should have been alongside that, evolving in the way we promote ourselves. Not just us, everybody. Not just the dancers, but everyone. You know what I'm saying? Social media we should have been looking weekly or monthly at what changes social media has made in order for us to be able to stay on top and stay in the faces of those we want to come see us. You know, it's not just like, you know, like billboards are nice. They're very pricey though. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But the evolution of social media and everything happened faster than those who were in control were able to, you know, progress and track. It was all just like, yeah, you guys do this. And it's like, okay, that is true. Yeah, but y'all also y'all have to learn this. Like
Yes.
you have to learn this. Like you can't just expect us to be the only ones do it, because technically y'all have all the power. Y'all have to learn how these.
Exactly. Like it's the fact that like the owners, um, they had the name. You know what I mean? Like we only had our individual name. Like there's only one way you can only promote, yourself. When you're promoting, well, you're promoting the club, you're helping promote the club, but you're really essentially promoting yourself. Like your own Facebook or your own Instagram or your own Twitter or whatever it may be, versus Hard Bodies Ladies Club Instagram or Facebook. It's like a brand. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Nike or Adidas or something like that. They have that name versus okay, for some like the generic version, like no one knows you because they're you're still building up or whatever. But it was definitely I wish that it had been something that they had worked on, was the social media, especially because social media is practically free. I mean, you don't really, you just have to market properly. You just have to learn how to market and learn how to keep up with what's going on around you. Like it's very competitive. Like times are different. You can, I mean, what was it? Eminem just released an album. Didn't even know promotion, just dropped an album too. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like you can do that now because you have social media. You can get away with it. Still promote yourself free.
You gotta have the
following. You have to have the
like
following.
him
Exactly.
to do that.
Exactly. We could have had the following. We did have the following if we would have properly, had that social media, like stayed on top of it. If it was, something that was actually like follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook. But, that was a mark that was missed. We were also still very new. We didn't even know how to market ourselves, let alone a whole entity of, entertainment.
Well, it's not easy either. Like times are changing so quickly now that things that were popular today will be unpopular or not popular in a month. And so it's really difficult to stay up with that. Mm-hmm. Not to mention that from what I've gathered, because I've had multiple discussions with our owner as far as promoting and advertisement and things like that go, that there is some pushback from various multimedia platforms on things. Like, for example, to make a billboard, like I think the one time that LeBaron tried to have a billboard in Dallas, they had to put the guys up in suits, which in theory sounds fine. But the problem is that it was misinterpreted. And so they were getting phone calls about like Men's Warehouse type stuff versus ladies entertainment. And then we've done various radio spots as well, where we've gone to actual recording studios, recorded, our bites and stuff to put up on the air. And what ends up happening is, despite what the owner is paying, they end up, through market research, end up playing us like at 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning and stuff, when like barely anyone's listening. Which, I mean, I'm kind of back and forth on radio, because I'll be honest with you, I never listen to radio. Between podcasts and audiobooks and just my own music, I never listen to radio. But I know a ton of people that, Spotify and all those other kind of programs out there that I really don't, and XM radio. So it's one of those things.
I feel like radio's tricky. I feel like there's like surges of people that listen. All of a sudden, it's like radio's popular again, and it kind of dies off again. Like it's back and forth. That's what I think about radio.
They're very selective about how they do things anyway. So it's better to bypass them. Anyway, see, this is what I was saying. This is what I was trying to suggest. I was trying to suggest advertisements on YouTube. Like whenever you have an advertisement on YouTube, you get somebody who is looking for something like you. Because how many times have you seen somebody, or maybe yourself, if you don't have YouTube Red or YouTube Music or whatever which you pay for, how many times have you typed in something, or you might have put it in like a Google search bar, and then when you get on Facebook, the advertisement that pops up is something you were talking about or searching or earlier. Like it'll go ahead, there'll be an algorithm that puts it there. Like that's how you got to think. You know what I'm saying? You can't think like, this person did this and it works for them. You now have to think, well, what's the next thing I can latch onto that's going to be the next thing that everyone's looking at? Like you can't just do old stuff all the time just because it's been working recently.
Yeah.
Like it, or not even recently, just before. And it's like, oh yeah, it worked for this. It worked for this. Oh yeah, it worked for this. I'm like, well, that was so long ago that it makes it irrelevant. It's like it's as irrelevant as I know you're in Dallas, and a couple Dallas people might hate this, but as the Cowboys playbook. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like there's a lot with their style that worked in the eras where they won those championships. But if you run the same style of play all the time, at some point someone's going to learn. Okay, well, this is how you stop this. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why
Yeah.
you got people like Bill Belichick who's putting some new flavor on something almost every year, and he's winning championships every year. You know, he has the players to do it though. That's another thing that frustrated us. We had the players to be greater than what we were, but it didn't turn out to be that way. You know what I'm saying? Everywhere we went, we were told that too. But
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Like it was just we we didn't even realize it until like we didn't know how to do or promote really until pretty much until it was too late. That's pretty much how it felt. It was like, okay, we just kind of figured it out, and then all we needed really at that time was just the backing of the owners. That's really all we needed, basically, was the backing of the owners. And by the time we really kind of had our own idea and figured out like what it is that we needed to do, it was too late. So there was nothing we could really do about it. So then, that's when the shift, that's when it
Yes.
happened.
So you mentioned learning how it's supposed to work. Let me ask it, dig a little deeper. Did you guys kind of just do a lot of research on your own and people just kind of think tanked it, or did you all reach out to professional assistants, or did the owners try to bring someone in as a publicist? Like, how did that work out?
As
all of
far
it
as like
except
promoting, yeah.
go ahead.
No, no, no. I was saying that we did seek, professional, help as well as doing our own research, trying to figure out, what it is that we could do to help promote our, not only ourselves but our club. And by that time, it was just like it was too late. It was just, we kind of missed that mark, that time frame, and it's really everything works cohesively. Everyone, every piece has to work together. It's got to work like a machine. And when and this is not to talk badly about ownership. It's just not knowing or how to keep up with times of everything, especially considering that male dancing is a smaller market. It's just you have to go with what the trend is. This everything has a trend. Instagram, the algorithms, there's a trend. Everything changes. There's different hashtags, there's different ways of promoting. It's just, you have to do videos, not just photos, not just flyers. There's so much to it. It's so interesting at the reaction of people.
It's
Women
very
react
fickle.
more. Yeah. At one point it was like flyers are good. Then after that, it shifted to where it was like, okay, gym photos are good. Okay.
Yeah,
And then
it's
now
like
it shifted. Yeah. Then there's video. And of course, it can't be too professional because too professional looks like it's not real. It needs to be more realistic. It's got to be more inviting. It's got to be raw. So I guess that's a
but it
good way to
can't be
put it.
bad quality.
Yeah, but it can't be. Yeah, it's very, very tricky. So there's so many different factors that go into it. And um, by the time we figured it out, it was like, oh, it's done. So
Our timing was bad, and timing is everything.
yeah,
If you do something the right time, it's revolutionary, it's great, or it goes along with the trend. You do it at the wrong time, it's corny.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Don't miss the mark. You miss the mark, just do something else.
See,
But
you know what though? I'll be honest with you all. I've kind of been working on my promotion game as well, and I'm
hmm
still on the fence about the behind the scenes kind of raw video stuff. And the reason why I say this is because I feel like there is a certain level of connection that people might feel like, oh, he's more human and this and that. But I'm not
exactly,
necessarily sure it gets the point across of them to come out and support us and support the show. Um, I feel
exactly, yeah,
I feel like you kind of flirt that line of being like, oh, just some cool person I follow on Instagram versus like, oh man, like this is an entertainer, this is a performer, this is someone, quote unquote, a local celebrity that I want to see and kind of fangirl over, so to speak, and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's
Yeah,
different when The Rock posts him behind the scenes messing around with one of his co-stars on a movie, because people are gonna go out and see that movie.
exactly.
And you know, much how, like, I believe it was Dingo that said it, but the fact, I don't know, it was you with the new track. But the fact that, you know, when you have that 4 million follower base already, it's a little bit easier to slack off versus, like, I felt sometimes when I put out a professional, like, even if I edit it myself, but a legitimately post-productive video, it kind of showcases our professionalism a little more and what we bring to the table. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a publicist by no means. I'm still kind of figuring out myself, but I feel like it
It
might
was
not.
it
Well, on
it's
social
it's the
media,
way it's the way it's promoted for what purpose. Like if it's the purpose of, getting girls out for whatever night, or if it's for like a birthday party, or if it's like for an event. It's just, if it's for an event, like what I've noticed definitely for sure, like the more of the entertainers that are actually geared in and actually showing that their excitement for it, because a lot of times you get the same guys that keep posting or promoting or whatever, but then when you have the guys that don't normally do that are actually excited about it and actually engaging in the postings and conversations and all that, uh there's a lot more reaction to it, even if it's on someone else's post, because of the algorithm. It forces people to constantly see that on their news feed. And so there's that. And then, of course, like, you know, come out and see the men, tonight or whatever, the men of LeBaron, the men of Hard Bodies, whatever. It's just the way the approach has to be done correctly. Like, it's got to be, in my opinion, it's got to be a little bit more flirty. And if like, come see me tonight or come see us tonight, it's got to be more sensual in a way, where it's more enticing for the women versus just like a
engagement.
flyer photo. Yeah, it's got to be personable, I guess.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Like, I understand what you mean about the level of professionalism that you want to have, but a certain videos like he's speaking about are very good with actual engagement. You know what I'm saying? Versus it being like, this is what I do and I am awesome at it, which that's always good. That's always good.
Yeah.
But every once in a while, you want to slide in something it depends. It like how far along. Like I'm saying, it's always timing, delivery, and engagement completely change the context of the entire promotion. The entire promotion changes, and it was something they ain't understand. It was just come here and see these guys. And it was like, well, that's when the market isn't like that anymore. The market was like that 10, 12 years ago, but that market has changed. Now it's, well, why should I see these guys? Everyone, yada, yada, blah. Like, it's just like whatever they think about whatever kind of guys exist on this planet. Like, there are going to be some people who you're a star to already. That's awesome. That's great. You want more people who think you're great at what you do, but there are some people who will appreciate the kind of engagement that makes them feel like y'all are on the same level. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, let me ask you something, since we've kind of dabbled in fan base a little bit throughout this discussion here. How involved are or were the current fan base, the regulars, the veterans, the friends, the fans, all the people that already come in to support you guys? Like, how did you all reach out to them to help? Did they kind of do it on their own? Did they even support y'all and do their part, getting the word out, encouraging other people to come in?
That kind of, I mean, it was really for them. See, I missed a full month. I was in Florida, so I missed I missed the first month. So by the time I got back, everything was kind of picking back up again. So I guess
it was extremely difficult. I was there.
Yeah.
It was extremely difficult.
Yeah.
I was gone for 1 week in Houston, but
to my understanding, it
was extremely difficult because you got to realize people are in a routine. Oh, I can go. I can stroll in at 11,
9:30.
10:30, and it's like, well, now we're all gone already. You know what I'm saying? Like now it's like I've definitely felt that one. I felt that one hard. Like there are people, because it's like people who are want to come see you are probably gonna, if they have the time and you're like, hey, now these are the hours of operation. So if you want to come see me, come now. Or for anyone who was already an early bird who liked to get in and get out before it got crowded, like that's cool. But for majority people going out to enjoy themselves for the night, they're not gonna leave the house till 10:30 at least. Some of them might be waking up from their naps at 10. You know what I'm saying? So,
well, I meant before the change, like i.e. while you were still hard bodies and it was natural
Oh,
hours.
no. Oh, we were definitely engaged with our fan base and clientele and all that. We, definitely were engaged. I mean, they did their, for the most part, they did their part. I mean, it was just the problem that we were having was really the promotion, getting the general population. Our, regulars could not carry the entire club.
We go to
I mean,
places.
essentially bringing more people in. You know what I mean? Because
Oh yeah. Oh no. They. I mean, essentially, they tried. It's always still like a very. It's like Dingo said. It's a small market, and then there's that whole strip. Like they had so many options of like, okay, well maybe I should go in here. Well, no, I'm gonna go here first, or I'm gonna go here, or I'm gonna leave, or I'm gonna go like, there were so many different options on the entire strip.
Gotcha. Yeah, and there'd be bachelorette parties that would be there, right? And then there's everything else around them. So they're like, okay, but now we got here at 8:45, 9, and now we're gonna leave at 11. So that's less money at the bar that they're making because there are all these places around them that are just so easily accessible. As I said before, location was huge on that. And then a lot of the girls that brought girls in there, very few of them would be returning customers. They would be mostly just like, oh, I tried it. I went with my girl who goes all the time. I tried it. It was fun. It was great. Y'all should check them out. But they weren't going to go out of their way to try to get people in there like the more loyal people who brought them there in the first place would. Maybe 1 out of 100 or something. So it was just like you're constantly climbing out of something. Like you're just always trying to climb. You just keep climbing. It's like, okay, we got one person here who brought one other person in that wants to stay in. But they originally brought like 10 people. And none of those other 9 are interested in coming back or, want to do for whatever reason. Just because of the market, it's like the market is not for everyone.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's definitely something that we've always got battle on. I'll actually talk about that later in my one of my events of the week involves the kind of success and failure rate we have when promoting. But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, there's still very much a taboo and stereotype and like kind of mystery about it that you sometimes have to fight over that hump. So it's one of those things where we're not selling groceries. We're not selling a necessity that people have. We're selling, I mean, in some regards, it is a necessity because people need a release, an escape, and a distraction from life sometimes for their emotional and mental health. But, we're not exactly seen that way in the first light, And that's why,
exactly.
And that's why it takes a lot of people that have been going and see what a difference it is and what a positive environment it can be to spread the word and inoculate people to be like, hey, it's not what you think. Like, try it out. It might not be for you, but it might.
Yeah.
Speaking of being a little more raw and kind of like how people feel and stuff, Mandingo, like, so tell us a little bit, like you kind of touched on a little bit as far as, just being a different dynamic when ladies coming in there late and stuff. So how did this quote, somewhat abrupt change, like how did it affect you? And you could be as in-depth as you want or not. I don't want to get too personal if you don't want to.
Well, my money immediately suffered, in all honesty. As I was going to say, there were people that were coming to see me who would be like, okay, I'm coming, and they usually get there 10:30 or 11, and now that show's over. So they can't, and it's not even that they wouldn't come, it's that they might still be at work. Like, some people they're not going to change their work schedule. It's just that simple for their late night activities. You know what I'm saying? So when it changed, it made it really difficult to make people get there comfortably. Now it sometimes feels like people are going out of their way just to get there to see me during these hours because it's like I said, nobody's leaving their house at 6:30 to go party. You know what I'm saying? Unless they've been partying all day and they're just not gonna stop until 4 a.m. But how many people are actually doing that? And then how many people that are doing that are actually going to a male strip club? Like that doesn't even it's just too small. So it's it's taken a lot of the energy away. In all honesty, like nothing against the ownership, I love them to death, but it did take a lot away from the energy of the dancers. Like, you know what I'm saying? You have your stage, as you mentioned earlier, and then now it's just gone, and it just feels like a big empty space in between us and the crowd a lot. Like because you know the height of our stage, so we still have the back part of our stage. Now imagine being on the other side, opposite that pole, closer to the bar area, and look at how empty of a space that is. It's almost like they're watching TV now, and we're not even that close. And now we have to go so much farther out of our way. Like he was saying, we learned to entertain on that stage the way we entertain. And that stage, learning on that stage helped us be able to entertain it anywhere. Because we learned to be able to have to adjust timing at any in many different ways with all the acts that we've come up with, seen, been a part of, or whatever over the years. So the stage being gone, along with the change in time, along with us, you know, dancing on concrete, has made it very like a very frustrating experience to overcome. Like it just we are still individually great entertainers, but we ain't what we used to be. It's just that simple. As a group, we just ain't what we used to be. Like the morale has just changed. Everything has changed. It's like, well, now if one person goes up and they ain't got time to go up again, oh well. Like usually a guy's going two, sometimes in the right nights, three times in a night,
Mm-hmm.
varying on club to club. But now it's like if you get to go up again, you're lucky. You know what
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like good
exactly.
luck. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
And that's
it's just
another like you were saying about the morale of everyone is kind of like the shift. Like I guess it went from us as a group being more collective as a group, and we were kind of in a way, I shouldn't say flourishing, but we were doing fine. We were okay, and the ownership was suffering in that way, and now it's flipped. It's like, now the owners are, doing fine and well, and then now you have the guys that are kind of like having to suffer a little bit from the actions or the changes of everything. So now everyone is very um much individualistic, or very much of an individual, not so much as a group. Like we're very, we're still not saying that we're not closer with each other or anything. It's just everyone is very much about, it's kind of like a me kind of situation,
There's a little less
and not
overlap.
wanting to do. Yeah, and then also too, like because there's not that many hours open. There's it's not, it's discouraging a little bit. When there's a lot of a less crowd and you have these big major shows. Like we have really big shows. I think every single person that works big shows, and we were always supposed to do group acts. If there was only 10, 15 women, there was always a group act. We had to do group acts. We did it. And so we got used to doing that. And it got to a point where we would get excited about doing, our big, group act or group number or whatever. And
Juice, you there?
uh-oh.
We might have lost him. We'll see. Let me check Skype.
now it's not,
There you go.
y'all can hear me?
Juice. All right, there you go. Go ahead.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you now.
Okay. Okay. No, I was saying, a lot of us missed, being able to do our show. Not that we can't do our shows, it's just harder to get everyone on the same page. Like before, it was just, it was no brainer. It was not really like really a thought process. Now it's more so like it's a little bit more of an extra effort. And that's
So,
definitely. I do. Can you hear me?
yeah, I got you.
Okay.
So
We definitely do miss that.
let me
Go
ask
ahead.
you. So has this changed? This change in literally the only game in town, so to speak, for you guys, and you can start it off, Juice. Has it changed or discouraged you from? I mean, has it put thoughts as far as leaving the industry as a whole, or like, are you still trying to figure out what the next evolutionary step is in this career?
Well, I believe the last time we did the podcast, I mean, it spoke about, of course, can't do it forever. And I mean, it's just also, too, in my opinion, it's like a push in the right direction. Um, because I focused so much on a show, even though I was told like this past weekend, is oh, we don't really care about what you do on stage. We want to just get dances for. We want you to see you take your clothes off.
Lies.
Okay, that's 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 great and all, but that to me is kind of a slap in the face. It's kind of an insult because we put so much into our show, and I actually get excited about it. I really do. Like I actually care about it, and a lot of us do. But to be told that, it's just kind of like, you're kind of confirming that it's time to move things along in the right direction,
Take
especially
it
considering
off.
it's moving into a show, more of a show, doing a show somewhere else, and doing it in a different kind of way, in a different I don't know, a different industry possibly, but especially now, um, I've been DJing now, on Fridays and Saturdays, so my perspective is a lot different. So I get to really see everything from not only just an aerial view, but I get to see the entire club, on the outside looking in versus being on stage or on the side stages. I'm DJing, so I get to see it differently, and so I'm seeing a lot of what works, and a lot of my instinctive thought process. I'm kind of being able to confirm that I was right or I was onto something in the first place, but now it's just different.
Yeah,
It's different seeing it that way.
yeah. I mean, sometimes I'm a big proponent of the fact that the universe will show you the way if you're willing to make decisions and let it and allow it to give you guidance. You know.
Yeah, yeah.
How about you, Mandingo?
Um, I've started to actually transition more into the music thing, and whenever Juice is too busy, I'll MC sometimes myself. I've MC'd before. He's MC'd before, so I tell him every once in a while, like, not everybody has the same vision as we do. Like, not everybody has the same mindset as far as when this, and that remains true after this transition. Like,
Yeah.
it's not. We haven't mentioned this so far, but I mean, we've discussed multiple positives about it becoming this way. Number one, they're not losing. Just talking about the owners, they're not losing everything by doing this. They're giving themselves a chance by doing this because
Mhm.
now they're opening the floodgates, right? They're trying new things. They're giving themselves more of an opportunity to learn from people who are in this, who are in the club industry in general. So when the time is right, if that time ever comes, they can actually, you ever heard the phrase, sometimes you got to take a step back to move forward, that kind of thing?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yes.
this is giving them the opportunity to be like, okay, whenever we actually want to do this again, now we know to move it to and make sure it's at a, now we remember to make sure it's at a location where there ain't nothing else around us that can challenge our drink prices. Now we know that women like these color schemes more than the color schemes we had. Now we know that this upkeep is important. Now we know that this type of promotion is going to get us somewhere and this type of promotion is not. You know what I'm saying? So they're actually, it's like going back to school. If they like,
Exactly.
if they ever wanted to be able to do the club or reopen a club, not this particular location, because this location is gonna have to stay the same. It's just gonna have to, because I mean everything around it is gonna force it to be a regular club. You don't have a choice.
Yeah, yeah.
but everywhere else or any other spot that they pick could be, could catapult them back into the peak of the niche market that is the male dancing industry. Now, as far as for myself, I view it as an opportunity for me to have another place to perform music. Number one. Number two, I work the door a lot when the club transitions, so I meet not just women. Nothing wrong with meeting women. Lord knows I love them. But my point, like meeting guys, trying to get guys to listen, like trying to network to. How do I put this? The time that I spent networking with women in the club was great but you know what I'm saying? I don't just make music for women though. I make music for everybody. And now I'm
all ears are created equal.
Yes.
Huh? What'd you say?
All ears are created equal.
You know what I'm saying? So, but now it's much more comfortable for me to be able to market to dudes and talk to them because I'm in front of the club checking IDs. So you know what I'm saying? I'm talking to people, multiple people every day that I'm working the door. So it gives me an opportunity to just get better at social interactions with not just women, and it gives me the opportunity to It gives me the opportunity to tell people about what I'm up to. People, for some reason, are now interested because I'm a doorman. I don't know why, but they're interested now. And
you're the gatekeeper, bro.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's another positive. Another thing, it freed up more time for me to work on the music. Like, when everything actually transitioned, before I was getting to work the door as much as I am now, I had a lot of free time. And that free time turned into productivity. So whenever I wasn't working on something, I was either at the gym or I was working on something else or I was at work. But that Friday and Saturday for 3 hours each, obviously the money took a hit. So the time and this is time I've always asked for. That's what's so crazy about it. This was time that I've always asked for. I needed to be able to do these things because I know what my true passion is and I know where I want to go. And it just kind of worked out in that way to where now I can be like, I'm going to take, like, if I want to take time from working the door and just work Friday and Saturday for 3 hours and spend the rest of the week lifting weights and making music, then that's what I'm going to do. Like, if I need to do that.
Yeah.
So,
hey, I mean, you're a self-starter, man. You always have been, as far as I've known you. And it's one of those things where it's really easy to get tied up in this industry. Like, we've done this. This is the majority of what this podcast talks about is just all the stuff that we have to do, behind the scenes, on our own time, on our own, figuring things out on stage, like so much stuff that comes into it. So when you kind of get that door kind of opened a little bit, like, hey, you don't have to quote unquote put as much work, or not quote, I don't even know why I said that, but anywho, like, you kind of have a slight ability to not put in that kind of effort. Yeah, it's amazing where you're like, wait, hold on, it happened to me the other day. I was sitting there and I purposely kind of took care of everything I needed to give myself a slower day. And before I knew it, I was like, wait a minute, I could work on my cosplay, which I haven't done in like 2 months. And so it was one of those things. And I could definitely see that happening for two guys like yourselves, both extremely creative and go-getters. Like, you guys succeed in everything you do because of the fact that you fight for it, regardless of whether you're comfortable with it or not. So it's just a matter of having the resources and the opportunity to do something, and you make it happen.
Right, man. It definitely, it made us feel like, I mean, definitely for me, for sure. I know that I've always known that I've been creative, but then when you get so much of this time of not having to create a show specifically made, or just the energy put into a male review show, then you step back and you kind of realize, oh, damn, I got all this time that I was putting into this when, I still have this creativity, but I can put it towards, something else. So it's not necessarily all bad at all. It's just learning how to redirect our creativity and our efforts.
Yeah, For sure. Who knows? Maybe
Sure.
down the line we'll do a documentary together, the three of us. Like, where
Yeah,
are they now
you
and
never
whatnot.
know. Yeah. All
Because I
right.
mean, you guys already know I like editing. You both were on the reality shows,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
real quick, we're as I figured, time we're just going on,
Hmm.
and I have no problem. But anywho, one last thing before we go ahead and go into our worst and best events of the week. In one statement, if you guys could, if you could rewind the clock a little bit, maybe let's say 6 months before this happened, what would you have done differently? Or even during, even like while this process, this transition was happening? If there's one thing you guys would have liked to see done differently or done differently yourselves, whether it involves you or the people or the owners or the club or the team, what would it be? Juice?
Hmm. 6 months prior. Uh, what
Sense
would
of
I? What?
urgency.
Definitely. Yeah. Definitely sense of urgency. I would say that um, we could have been on it a lot more. We could have definitely had our efforts pushing the owners a lot more. As far as the guys, I feel like we did everything we could. We didn't learn. I guess we didn't learn quick enough, but um, we could have definitely urged our owners a little bit more about, you know, what we all felt was possibly going to happen in the first place. I think we all felt it. We just didn't really know for sure. We kind of all in the back of our heads felt like, is this place going to close down or is it going to change? Like, what's going on? Like, it's just
The
it was
energy
that
was there.
feeling. The energy definitely was there. It was like it was off, especially when we heard that. You know, we were asked, "Do y'all still want to do a strip off?" We were like, "What?" Like we there was no question about strip off. It was always there's a strip off in May. There's a strip off in October. Any other strip off was a maybe or maybe 80% chance always. But
Yeah.
yeah, we were
Y'all always,
definitely huh.
like, you want to still have a strip up, man? What the beep you think, dog?
Yeah.
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 I mean, this is what we work for. Dang.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. So
I got you.
that's when it felt off. But yeah, we would have definitely pushed our owners a little bit more, versus just being one of us, or maybe not as a group all at once attacking them, but definitely like showing a little bit more interest into helping their business and letting them know that we actually care, because their business of course affects our business.
Yeah.
So
So just better communication, like a little more sense of urgency, like Dingo said, and then
hmm
just more communication. And I understand because, like you said, even though it's a little bit of like two separate businesses, it's still a cohesive unit overall.
yeah,
It's like
yeah,
various departments of an industry still working together to put out the brand
exactly.
name. Sweet
Yeah.
guys, really appreciate it, man. I hope the listeners kind of appreciate and other entertainers kind of get that sense of urgency as well. Just as someone Dingo was saying, is the fact that like this industry is what you make of it. Like we are definitely fighting
Yep.
uphill battle, and if you don't stay with the times and really push to go, I mean, you just have to. We're a step behind everyone. So you have to work twice as hard to stay on the same level,
Yeah.
and three times as hard if you want to make something of it. And so you can't get complacent.
Definitely can't.
Not at all.
Definitely can't.
All right,
And if
gentlemen.
you're a creative person, don't let go of that creativity. Don't let go of what your aspirations are. If you want to be a model, if you want to be an actor, if you want to don't think just because you're a male entertainer, you have to just stick with that. Always find time for yourself and your aspirations, what you really want to do.
And
So
always
this,
find,
what
I was going to say, always find what elements of male dancing will help you with that later on.
exactly?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, that was the one great thing about, or it is the one great thing about this industry is the fact that if you have creativity, you could test your creativity quality and get immediate feedback. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You work to create a show. You have the guys help you to do whatever you want to do, and then you put it on stage, and you'll
hmm
find out pretty quick on whether it works or not.
Yep.
All right, gentlemen. Well, let's move on to the worst event of the week. I will take lead on this one, so you guys have a minute to come up with it if you can't remember. Mine actually isn't that bad. It's actually a little bit of locker room humor, but honestly, it was I don't know. I don't mind. I'm not gonna say any names, so I don't throw anybody under the bus. But I'm pretty sure they don't listen to the podcast anyway, so we're good to go. So obviously, you guys know we have a ton of locker room discussions. Not all of them are exactly in. I won't say intellectual, but like really benefit. You know what I mean? A lot of them are just kind of slapstick humor and stuff like that. And I'm normally a quiet dude. I normally have some kind of research thing I'm doing, but every once in a while I'm sitting in the back stretching or, doing some muscle therapy and stuff like that. And I normally just listen in. And one of our guys just started off this conversation by saying, I wonder if it's easy to get shot. So I immediately kind of raised an eyebrow. Yeah, exactly. And a couple of the other people looked at him like, I mean, we could probably figure that out really quickly, bro, if you really need to find that out, And everyone's like, I mean, it's not hard at all. Then he kind of, he said one other thing to kind of try to save it a little bit was like, no, if it's really difficult to get shot. And once again, everyone's like, dude, what are you trying to say? Because, I mean, this is a quick fix. We're on the right street for it. Yeah, actually, that's a horrible joke. Our street's not that dangerous. But I know I probably made half the listeners be like, I'm never going down there again. The hell with that.
It's the safest place.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the worst thing we get is cat calls in the parking lot, which is really strange to me. Why guys would, like, leave wherever they're at to go through, the Liberia parking lot to like catcall women. Like they just saw a bunch of 9s and 10s performing all night for them. Like what makes you think like at least that night when they're slightly intoxicated, then the average guy is going to have the chance, and mind you, I'm probably giving them credit from what the stories the women have told me. These guys are like subpar, but anywho, I digress. So we're in the back and so he's like, no, like, I mean, like in a firefight, like if there's gunshots going off and this and that, I wonder how difficult it would be to get shot. And then they're like, and I was contemplating saying something, but luckily the other guys kind of spoke sense and was like, well, I mean, dude, there's a ton of factors. Are you hiding? Are you just standing there? Are you shooting? Are they shooting at you? Like, do they know how to shoot? Yeah. Like there's so many factors. There's no way to answer this or whatever. And I'm just sitting there once again. I keep stretching with my eyebrow raised, like this conversation is really happening. And the entire time, like, don't get me wrong, I more often than not, people are surprised to hear about my history because there's just no reason for me to throw it out there. It never comes up in conversation. But about halfway through this serious discussion, I'm just like going through my mind of like, this is really going on right now. And then I guess I must have thought too loud because then one of the other guys was like, hey, like we're sitting here theory crafting this, but there's kind of a dude here that's been in firefights. We should probably ask him. And I mean, this was probably 10, 15 minutes in the conversation already. And they're all like, oh yeah. And they all look at me and I'm like, look, you guys already pretty much said everything I would have said at this point. So yeah, I was just wondering why that popped into your head at all, but hey, c'est la vie. So, yeah, it was just that. I like I said, not really a worst event. It was probably the worst thing that happened this week. It was actually a really good week. But yeah, it was just awkward that they had this giant in-depth conversation about shootouts, and then the one person that has combat experience was not in the conversation at all.
I know, right? Like this, he should have come to you and just been like, "Hey, man,
I've
always wondered."
Yeah, but it's funny how that plays out, But then, like, there'll be other conversations that I know absolutely nothing about whatsoever for whatever reason, and then they'll ask me, and I'm like, "Why are you asking me?" They'll be like, "Hey, Caesar, how dark is the far side of the moon?" I'll be like, "What the hell?"
Well,
yeah, like Google. That's what I tell people most of the time. Honestly, I'm just like, "There's a thing on your phone called Google,
Wiki.
bro." I do it all the time.
Man, when you get questions like that, you got to mess with people. Like, pull up a chair and I'll tell you why. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're way more charismatic than I am.
Huh?
You're way more charismatic than I am.
Oh, come on, stop it.
Actually, I won't lie though. One of my favorite things to do is when people give me like A or B questions, I normally try to come up with a C option and then walk away before they can process it.
Yeah, get out of there.
Yeah. So they're like, hey, when you walk by someone like person A, like, do you look at the floor or do you look at them? I'm like, I look at them through the mirror and then I walk off.
I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah. So, But yeah, that was my worst event. So everyone at home is probably just like, oh, WTF, Caesar. We were expecting something better, but that's all you get.
Uh,
All right, Dingo, how about you, man? What was your worst event this week?
Is this only like work related? I guess. I mean, because I don't feel as if there was anything super negative really. Um,
I think I've just
that I can
established
think
the
of.
status quo is not needing to be super negative.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. They haven't cut my grass in a few weeks. I don't know.
Those
mean,
bastards.
I mean, I'm over here tiptoeing around wet grass, trying to look out for rattlesnakes because they go uphill. I live uphill, so then they move uphill if they smell like, or like if it's raining a lot, so they avoid getting caught in puddles or flooding or whatever.
Wait a minute,
Um,
dude. You talked about having a garden. How do you have a garden and not manage your own lawn?
we haven't really been met. Well, okay, the not apartment, the subdivision that I live in. See, we used to do our own lawn, but then we just got tired of just doing it, and so we pay them to do it now. But the garden is separate because the garden has the perimeter set with cinder blocks, so they stay away from that. We do that. They only cut the lawn around it, and we don't have any fences. Let me paint the right picture. There's no fences. That's probably why it's a little weird. They just go from place to place mowing on the riding mower and just chop everything down. So the subdivision I have in the house, there's no fences. That's why it's so like easy for them to just come and go as they please and do all that. Like front lawn, the front and the back and all that is just open.
Gotcha. All right.
But man, it's a good thing, I guess, that I don't have anything negative to say.
Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure.
Maybe it's been a while since I've traveled and I want to either go out there or to Houston again. I guess that would be the most negative thing I could have. Maybe, the show. We had a show this week that didn't go so, expected. That would be the most negative one, I guess. It's been, and those happen sometimes, but I would say as far as dancing is concerned, a road show that wasn't all what we desired it to be was probably the most negative part of the week.
Fair enough. Yeah, I've had my fair share of those, man. And the funny thing is that sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes you're like, man, that show could have been so much better. Like, damn, we messed up or this and that, or the crowd didn't like us. And then you end up hearing about it later on and people had an absolute blast.
Oh yeah.
That's happened to me before.
That definitely does happen.
I've had a private party, and like to me, I was like, okay, it wasn't bad, but I'm like, it definitely wasn't one of my best. Like, dang, I really hope they had a good time, this and that. And I get back to the club, and they're like, hey, man, your strip program called. They had an absolute blast. They thought you were amazing. I was like, oh, okay. I mean, we're talking about the same party, right? All right. I was like, how drunk were they?
They start drinking more and imagining. No, I'm just kidding.
Hey, man, that's the first thing I do when I walk in the door. Start looking at cups and stuff. Be like, all right, who's drinking? All right, I think it's shot o'clock. Go ahead and take another shot. It makes me look better. All right, cool. So, Juice, man, what's up, brother? What's your worst event?
Okay, so I got a little series of things on Saturday. So
pull up a chair, grab a cup of coffee.
So, yeah. Grab a cup of coffee, pull up a chair. Here we go. So Saturday, I had plans on being at the club by 6 o'clock. Of course, things don't always go as planned. I was running a little bit late. I get a message from our stage manager that he asked if I had any extra fog fluid because I have vertical smoke machines, and I didn't have any extra. And he said that we were out, and he didn't think that the owners had any. So I already had things I needed to pick up. I was just running about 30 minutes behind. And I wanted to set up everything before the show started because I'm DJing and I also wanted to dance on Saturday. So I had picked up like glow sticks, picked up like some extra shirts, picked up, I needed to, fix up my hair a little bit. And since I've been DJing, like I've been like, oh, screw it, who cares about my hair? But I'm like, oh, I'm about to dance. I got to make my hair look nice. So I forget to get, my gel and stuff from what was it, Walgreens or whatever. So I have to also pick up the fog juice. So I do that. I forget. I have to go back and forth. I don't get to the club till like almost 7 o'clock. I gotta still get my costumes, make sure my costumes are together, my music is together, the stage, some of the stage stuff is set up because I know it's been a while since I've done this act. And I was upset definitely about the fog fluid because that really threw me off. So I decided, I was like, you know what, I'm running way behind. I don't want to rush. I don't want to do any other show because I was just like so into wanting to do this show that involves these glow sticks and stuff. So I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna dance. I was all pissy to myself though. I didn't take it out on anybody. I was cool, DJing. I really like DJing. It's actually fun. But closer to the end of the night, or I actually give the stage manager the fog fluid or the materials to make it because we actually make it sometimes. And at the end of the night, I think I'm running like maybe the last guy, and one of the owners comes to me and was like, "Hey, do you smell that in the room? It smells like vanilla." I was like, "Yeah, it smells good." I was like, "What is that?" He was like, "Oh yeah, it's fog juice. I picked some up right before I came in tonight, like a little bit before 7." I was like, "Oh." Like I really wanted to just be like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, so you went and picked up fog juice when I went out of the way to go pick up fog juice, which made me later than I was supposed to be, so I couldn't get my stuff together, so I couldn't go on stage. I didn't say
Oh
anything to him, but I
man.
was so mad. I
Yeah.
was so
Oh
mad
God. I've totally
because
been
I was
there.
like, "Are you kidding?" I was like, "So you knew?" Like he knew that we didn't have any fog juice, and he went to go pick some up. Um, yeah, I was really upset about that because I really wanted to go on stage. Like I really was like strategically planning. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this, and I even had I even tried rehearsing a little bit. So that's what really, it just killed. That really like made it worse. I was like, are you serious? You just like poured salt on my wound. I was already upset about not dancing, and then just know that you already got fog juice, and I was running around trying to get everything done. Oh man, that like as bad as it can get. It's not. It wasn't really a bad thing, but things happen. Just got to plan a little bit better. But
Yeah,
I
you
was
just sit
definitely
there
not
staring at
happy.
him. He's looking at you like, "What? What's up?" And you're just giving him like the blank death
And
stare.
not only was it not regular fog juice, it was scented fog juice. So I'm like, are you kidding me? It smelled like vanilla in there. And then he had like another one that's like strawberry. I'm like, so it's not regular fog juice. You got scented fog juice. Like it smells good, and I can't go on stage. Like
And you were late.
I was not, and I was late. So
You
yeah,
realize now that the punchline for so many jokes in my future are going to involve it's at least it's not scented fog juice.
right. It's vanilla, and I think the other one was like strawberry. I don't know, something.
Oh, you have no
Yeah,
idea the amount of looks I'm going to get in my future because I will use that punchline and no one's going to
yeah,
know what the hell I'm talking about until I end up cracking a joke with you two. It'll
yeah.
be like 2 months
Oh
down the
yeah.
line. We'll be somewhere. You'll be like complaining about something. I'll be like, hey, bro, at least it's not scented fog
Listen to
juice.
fog juice. Yo,
I
yeah.
didn't even smell that.
I did. I could smell it. I love. I think I just have a sensitive nose. So I mean, if I'm smelling slightly funky, or if someone around me is just have a smell like a little woof of funk, I'm very sensitive to that. Or like perfumes and stuff, and I don't do it on purpose, but I think sometimes women take that a little bit way too personal. But if they smell, if I smell something good, I'm like, oh, you smell different. I'm like, oh my god, I just bought this or whatever. I'm like, I just think my nose is really sensitive.
Hey man, that goes a long way, bro. Every time I've
It
caught
does,
like a
yeah.
new shampoo or a new perfume on somebody, they like lose their minds. It's like a dress
Oh
with
yeah.
pockets. They're like, "Oh my
Oh,
god!"
oh yeah.
So yeah, that's
But yeah,
that's a
no.
good thing.
Yeah, I can normally always tell when a woman changes her perfume or
There
when
you go.
someone's stinky.
Yeah, fair enough. That one's a slightly more preferred than the other.
Yes.
All right,
Slightly.
cool. Hey, like, come on now. I'm not diming someone out. Maybe they went to the gym before they went to the club because they got to rush to the club now to see y'all. So maybe they didn't have time to freshen up beforehand.
Exactly. That's all right. If you funky, go ahead. Come on.
You know what I'm saying? They're like, do I want to take this locker room shower? Do I want to go see my boy? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They're just trying to better themselves, Dingo. Damn.
I didn't even.
I, Dingo's all like, "Why you stinky? I'm not stinky. Why you
I
stinky?"
didn't even say all that.
Oh, your eyes said it, bro. Your eyes said it.
We all know I breathe through my dreads anyway.
Man, now I have the mental picture of like your dreads being like gills and like
Yeah,
expanding and like,
exactly. I just
thanks.
pictured that too.
Just
Jeez.
saying.
Mm-hmm. All right, man. We'll move on to the best events of the week. So for us this week, or I should say last week now, we had a Women's Expo here in Dallas, which is, I thought initially it was going to be a bridal show, but actually, no, it is a women's expo, which means it's all things women, not just stuff for weddings and whatnot. So, our owners and publicists and whatnot decided that would be a good idea for us to go there and promote and get a booth, which I totally agree with because, as you both know, it's all numbers game for us. For every 100 women you talk to, 50 are going to blow you off, and then 50 might consider it. And out of those 50, 25 will make plans, and then out of those 25, 10 will actually make it in the club. So it's all a numbers
Exactly.
game.
Yeah.
And this women's expo was fantastic because we probably talked to easily 500 women as a group, but across probably across both days. I felt like I'm not sure we ended up working in shifts, so not one guy was there the entire day, but yeah, man. So it's one of those things where you just kind of have to put forth the effort to talk to a bunch of strangers and kind of sell them on your show and stuff like that, and depending on whatever their interests are. But it turned out we ended up getting there was a Home Depot booth that was working there as well. Like why I'm not really sure. I guess do it yourself women or like Susie homemakers that like to like improve stuff. I'm not sure. Like I said, I didn't really travel the show that much, but they end up coming around the show in shifts. Like I guess two girls would walk it while two or three stayed at the booth and whatnot. And these two ladies came across our booth and they were super excited. Like you can almost tell that they had been to La Bear because they were just super stoked about it. And this now we got to talking, and this younger girl, and she probably wasn't that young. She just looked it, but she could be. I have no idea. Anywho, she was super excited and like just beaming with joy and looking at me, and like a little more than usual. So I was like, like what's going on? Eventually I found out that she'd been to the club. She's like, yeah, I was there like 3 years ago. I was like, oh, wow. Like, yeah, I still had my mohawk then. She's like, yeah, I totally remember you, which was already a compliment. So just like a backhanded joke or whatever, not really backhanded, but offhand joke. I was like, so you still have my poster then? And she's like, yeah, actually I really do. It's still it's hanging on my mirror in my room. I was like, are you serious? She's like, yeah, I have a whole wall of like your poster and then some of the other guys' business cards and stuff like that. It always makes me smile and this and that. I was like, and she just beamed while she was saying it. So it actually made me feel pretty good at the fact that
Yeah.
like it didn't end up in the back of someone's car seat, wrinkled up by their
Rolled
children
up.
or like a coaster for someone's coffee and stuff like that. I was like, oh wow, it's like, hey, one poster made it out alive. It's like a bunch of baby sea turtles. They give birth to like 200, but only like 5 make it to the back to the mom or whatever. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like,
Pretty
sweet. Like there was the poster that made it up to a wall. Sweet, life is grand. I'm like, this expo was totally worth it.
That's awesome.
And then after that, I gave her crap about it being 3 years since she's been back. I was like, yo, what's up? Like, come on. And she's like, no, you're right. I need to go back. I'm like, darn right you do. You need another poster. I have a new one.
Your hair's how many times since you had that mohawk? So yeah,
Yeah. It's been
you're
about
not even the
2.5
same
years now.
person.
Here's another poster.
Exactly, man. They're like trading cards. Eventually, you'll see like a random Caesar the Crowd Pleaser poster up on like Amazon or eBay, like a collector's one. Like this is the
Somebody
two.
have them all.
Yeah,
The evolution of Caesar the crowd pleaser, all the way through.
actually, funny story. One of my biggest fans, she's a really good friend of mine. She actually framed all of the posters to include my first like prototype ones. I only made like 20 of those, and she has them up on the wall or hanging up on her wall. And it's funny to see the evolution of them. It actually is. It's a little creepy to see myself in like 7 different posters, but apparently it's an issue that she has to like kind of justify whenever she brings a man over. The guy's like, what's up with this? She's like, this is my favorite and you're gonna deal with that. I was like, damn, go girl.
There you go. Let them know how it is.
So yeah, that was my best event of the week for sure, hands down. It definitely made my day. So, and it was great seeing her that happy about it.
Nice.
Juice, man, how about you, brother?
Best. Oof, let me think. Um. Oh, I guess I have like two of them. Not that I'm an alcoholic or anything, but
Oh, that's a good way to start a
I do have
story.
my I I do like to drink sometimes on the weekends. I did not get drunk. I think I only had like two shots, and I still had a good time. Even though I was not really in the best mood, I was still okay. And that's one thing. And the other thing too was also the DJing, and it was a little bit more busy at the club. I was happy that I was able to get more guys on stage two times than we normally do. I just like seeing everybody have a good time, and the guys, of course, making money as well as myself. I don't know, makes me happy. But that was definitely
Oh yeah,
I guess,
I totally feel that, man. I make it a point
yeah,
to tell any of the other guys, especially the younger guys, when they have a good set on stage, man. It makes me happy to see them doing well and rocking the stage and stuff like that. So I
yeah,
totally feel you on that. It's definitely
yeah,
it's funny because as individual as our industry can be sometimes, there's still a lot of camaraderie and like group effort and like sympathetic appreciation. So yeah, I
yeah.
totally understand where you're coming from.
It's just feels. I don't know. It feels good. You feel proud for some. I don't know. It's like everybody's kind of like your little brother or big brother or like your siblings. Just hey, good job. You did good.
Your
That looked
annoying
really
cousin.
good. Yeah, like you know what, you get on my nerves, but you killed that. Like Casey. Okay.
Damn. Now I gotta figure out if I'm gonna bleep that out or not.
No, leave it in there.
Fair
Can't
enough.
live with them. Can't live without them. So.
It's like that. It's like that really horrible pothole in your neighborhood. It's like you can't stand that it's there. Sometimes you forget it's there and you hit it anyways. You always try to avoid it.
Yeah.
But you know what? The second they fill it in, you'd feel like something's missing.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
And FYI, starting off a story with "I'm not an alcoholic" and then being like "I only had two shots," I think isn't helping your case, bro.
Well, it was one day. It was one night. I didn't drink at all the rest of the weekend. So that's good.
Yeah.
Well, in
Well,
that case, that makes perfect sense.
that
Yeah, you're
is
good.
good. That's good. I normally not that I drink that. Dingo, well, I don't know. What do you think? Do you think I drink too much sometimes?
Mm.
So about that, Dingo. Hey, man, best event of the week, man. What's up with that?
I mean, I don't drink. I drink barely, so you're asking, a very biased person. But on to my.
Wow, that was good. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't drink. That's all you, bro.
I guess
What is that, martini
my.
shaker? Is that what I heard?
Oh, what?
Martini shaker.
Shut up. No, this is pre-workout.
Oh yeah, I bet that's your pre-workout. Hey man, if you
Oh,
want, that's
yeah.
what you want
Oh
to
no,
call
it
it.
sounds like an olive and a small onion shaking around in that shaker.
Oh God.
But, but, I would say a positive end of the week for me was I've noticed how strong my networking has been lately, due to the situation we have been in. The networking has changed completely, and this isn't even necessarily dance related. It's because the way everything has shifted. It's such a smaller window for anything dance related to really carry over. So don't get me wrong, it's still a large part of our lives, but my main positive, I don't know if I should say reminiscence. I don't know. Well, a large positive focal point of this week would be networking and my promotion abilities, just because I'm meeting so many people at such a high level consistently, like all night. It's like 4 hours. For 4 hours, I'm just talking to people, and I'm enjoying it. I'm starting to realize, like, I hate people sometimes, and it's not really personal. It's just that people disappoint me on a higher level a lot. But connecting with people again, like dancing originally kind of took me away from majority of the population because I was only dealing with one type of person for the most part. Well, not one type of person, but like one half of the species for all of my night
Mm-hmm.
for 5 nights a week. And it was only performing occasionally, those very few people you talk to them about anything outside of, getting a lap dance or a VIP or, how to get on stage or anything that's just related to that. And it was nice to be able to connect with so many people. On another note, that was also positive. I remember I mentioned the negativity of the show, how the show was, not what we wanted to be. Well, afterwards, we went to a private spot where I met a musician in the Corpus Christi area, and it just helped boost my attitude quite a bit. I networked with somebody who was outside of the city, which I mean I do often. When I'm in Houston, I network with people. When I'm in Dallas, I try to. Whenever I'm in Austin, I try to. Anywhere I am, I'm trying to network with people. But I have yet to actually network with anybody in Corpus Christi up until this moment. So it was nice to get to step outside of my shell and emerge from dancing into being a musical artist, which is now, you know what I'm saying, sharing what he's doing with more people than he was before. That's pretty much, my view on the positive points for this week.
Yeah, I mean it's the thing, man. Now in today's age, networking is everything. I don't think there's a career choice anywhere that doesn't involve you doing some level of networking to succeed. So yeah, man, that's definitely something to be happy about. So
Sure.
speaking of networking, you've mentioned that you are focusing more on your music creating or
Sure.
creation of your music. So let's go ahead and talk a little bit about that as we're bringing the show to a close.
Right. Um, well, I have a lot of singles lined up. Um, I've had several full-on projects in mind, but right now, I think it's more important for me to lay these singles out. I've had them, like, I've done a lot of learning since I started even making them. It's weird how I make music sometimes. Like, I'll make one part of something, and then I'll go to something else and make one part of that, and then I'll go back to something else that I was doing before, and then work on that. But I'm always learning as I go along. So that's one of the things that, kind of forces that style of creation, would be that I am always learning. So while I'm learning, I can go back and do something better than I did before. And I can be like, because when it comes out, I'm like, oh, this is pretty good, but pretty good is not what I'm looking for. You know what I'm saying? So I can be a little bit of a perfectionist, which can hurt you in the long run. But there are some standards you have to have if you want people to listen to your music on repeat, and not just listen to it 3 times and tell you it's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, that's good, but it ain't my favorite song. Oh, that's good, but after tonight and tomorrow, I'm gonna stop listening to it. Or I want I need to refer back to this. This was good. Or I want this on repeat. That's what I'm going for. So I'm constantly studying, trying to make that happen right now. I've actually been working on a beat that has been it's a breakthrough for me, as far as for those who understand like the sequencing of songs. Like, there's certain sounds that just draw people in, that I'm trying to be able to achieve. And that's really, really what I've been focusing on, because I've always been able to write, and I can hone that skill even more whenever I have the chance to. But I'm really focusing on sounds, because sounds are what will grip people, and then you can put your message over your sounds. Not everybody's message is the same. Not everybody's message is delivered the same, and not everybody uses the same sounds. I want to be able to express my influences over time while having my own catalog of sound to do that. So I've been working on that a lot, especially ever since this whole transition with the club. It's another positive, as I mentioned earlier, being able to work on that. So SoundCloud, I've released a couple of newer songs on SoundCloud. However, they are remixes, and another one was a single that I released. I'm going to redo it and then put it on Spotify. I just wanted to give people an idea of what I'm doing outside of remixing songs. I'm going to be releasing on Bandcamp, Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, all of that. These things, as I said before, they take time, but it's a, a consistent work in progress. Another thing, I might be getting on stage soon to be able to perform. And I've been practicing live instruments. I haven't gotten back to my saxophone as I promised many people that I will, but I will at some point. Right now, I'm working on the electric guitar, and I'm always trying to hone my skills on the keyboard, aka piano. So it's constant, and it's something that I enjoy, and it's something that fulfills me. It fulfills me more than any other experience that I've been a part of. I don't know how else to describe it, but I will have. I will let y'all hear a clip of something that I work on. I'm not gonna say no names. I'm not even gonna give you the direction of it. I'm just gonna let y'all interpret it when you hear the sound, because that's one of my main focal points right now. Anyway, is the sound.
Sweet, man. That's deep. Like, if people aren't hooked on it already, damn, I don't know what else you could do. So, right on, man. I'm excited to hear that. And yeah, I'll be sampling your stuff as I get it to the people. So, putting the name out there, because, I mean, your stuff's phenomenal.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. I'm not for everybody, but for those that enjoy it, I appreciate it. I love doing it. So if somebody don't like it, that's just part of it. If somebody does like it, hey, do what you will with it and enjoy it to the best of your enjoyment, I guess.
Fair enough. I mean, that's the great thing about music. It doesn't have to reach everyone. It just has to reach someone. All right. Well, we were actually fortunate enough for Mandingo to send us a sample of his upcoming single, Number One Headband, soon to be released on all platforms. If you have any questions about the merchandise, the track, or any other upcoming performances, contact him directly at his Instagram, which we'll have tagged at the end of the show. All right, without further ado, here you go.
Running tracks like the last second of the audio is the finish line.
Hey, if it ain't broke, I try not to fix. And if not provoked, I try not to diss. We might have some hope, like a dropping star wish, but we on a slippery slope, like an avalanching cliff. I can keep it conventional if you want, but I got more up my sleeve than a magician who got 4 arms, milking this outdoor farms. A chick I never sweater, she stitched together with poor yarn, needle in a haystack in a foreign barn. Poor favor, poor flames from the volcano where my brain was. My name's up in her mind, her makeup's reapplied. Body language be the picket line. I'm a boss, so I see the signs and proceed to redefine. Alcohol at my place, not liquor, something to white foundation she left on my face. I have my few occasions I can count as a loss, but the juice in my possession now, I mix it with sauce. Hey, side dish, put that where the mic is. Dinner time, run tracks like the last second of the audio was the finish.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Juice, what you got in the books, brother, or in the works, I should say.
Well, and Dingo had recently spoken about it. Just with the free time that we have, I've also been. I've always had interest in music. I've always had interest in singing and all that, and, as well as the performing. But I never really had the confidence and didn't really know that that was what was lacking. But I definitely have been dabbling a little bit more in that, and also learning to write as well. But I'm gonna be looking into doing some recordings here very soon. But I'm just going with the flow, really going with what I feel. And I feel like that's just the right thing to do right now, especially considering that I have so much. I think I'm always wanting to express, but that's just going to be a different way of expressing my own creativity. So I'm definitely venturing into a little bit of music. And yeah, that's just the gist of it right now. I may have already recorded something. I don't know. You never know. I'm all about surprises. So yeah.
All right. Cool.
That's
Man, so much stuff.
basically what I'm
See,
doing.
that's what I'm saying. Y'all keep putting out content. It's nonstop, man. It's great. It's awesome. That's why we all are friends, and I enjoy having y'all in my life, man. You guys definitely are motivating and inspirational. As for me, LeBear Dallas has our International Dance Wars coming up in November. This is the one where I go all out for, so definitely you want to be there. We don't have a date locked in yet, but as soon as I get it, I will push it out to the masses. So be on the lookout for that. And I am hosting a New Year's Battle of the Sexes Bash at LeBear Dallas, December 31st. It is a Monday night, so keep that in mind. But I am bringing a bunch of female entertainers to come out and perform aerial stuff, fire performing, pole, burlesque, you name it. And we're going to go head to head. The guys are going to do a show, the ladies are going to do a show, and we'll go back and forth. And then the crowd gets to decide who the winner is. And with that, we'll also bring in the new year with a balloon drop and various champagne packages that will be offered. So keep a lookout on that. All right, Dingo, where can people catch you at, man?
They can find me on Mandingo Jones on Facebook. My music page is Heaney, Hene, on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at Heaney Train, one word, no underscore, HENETRAIN. You can catch me on Twitter whenever I am on there, which I need to get back on there. But it's HEN3TRAIN, Heaney Train, except the second E is a 3. And for the meantime, you can catch me on SoundCloud. Search HENE hyphen TRAIN. That's Heaney hyphen Train. I believe that's everything. Can't think of anything else. Yeah, I haven't got everything else uploaded onto my for streaming the music, but you can find me on all those other sites for the meantime.
If not, one will lead to the other, so it's all good.
Indeed.
Juice, how can people catch all the stuff you're dropping?
www. I'm just kidding. No, catch me at on Instagram, James_Lomani, LOMANI, or on Facebook, James Lomani. I'm not too big on Snapchat, but sometimes I'm on there just a little bit. So you can catch me JAY Juice 210. And that's pretty much it for right now. Pretty soon I'll be better about social media. I've just been very busy with especially the club change and working more hours at my day job. So
so real quick, what's the problem with having a website, bro?
No, I don't have one yet. I'm not. That's just what I'm saying. I was just kidding. Like, I don't have one yet. There's nothing wrong with having a website. That's actually something I would like to have.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to be like Caesar. I've always wanted to be like Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not hating at all. I mean, you can anybody that pays attention. I mean,
Et tu, Brute?
what? No, I'm serious. I'm not throwing shade. I'm not hating on you at all. I
I'm just busting your shots, man.
As a
We're
male
good.
entertainer looking up to someone, yeah, I'm not blowing smoke up your either. I'm just saying.
Oh, gosh, man, Juice, you're killing me, bro. Like, we almost made the whole podcast.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say something wrong?
No, you just cussed in the middle of your bad event, and then you just cuss now. That's fine. I'll fix it in post production. You're good.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say any bad words.
No, you're good. I
didn't know the A word was a bad word.
I've been trying. It's fine. I'm gonna debate about whether I gotta clean up. There's one I dropped, and I'm not sure if I'm gonna let it in or not. Maybe I'll just leave this one unfiltered. We'll see. Okay. But anywho. All right, Caesar Collazo on Facebook, Caesar LeBear 7 on Twitter and Instagram, and that will pretty much find you everything else across social media and websites and stuff. And then, of course, you can catch me at www.CaesarTheCrowdPleaser.com, because I mean, I guess it's 2015, but I got a website, so yeah. You check out my stuff there. It's got links to all my other stuff. So, I mean, I'm not dropping any songs or anything, but I mean, there's some pictures on there and whatnot, you know. So check it out. Sweet, man. Well, Dingo, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to be on the show, man. I know you have a lot of stuff going on, creating and whatnot, so I really appreciate it. I hope our listeners appreciated you guys throwing some insight on something that's real about the industry in today's age if you're not willing to evolve. So thanks, Dingo.
No problem at all. Anytime.
Juice, man, absolute pleasure having you on the show. I got mad respect for you as a performer, as a human being. And I mean, case in point, you're getting your pre-workout on, getting ready to go to the gym. So
Yeah, I'm itching right now, man.
So yeah, definitely appreciate you taking the time to be on the show. It's great having you, man. Thanks.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, well, that's a wrap. Hope you all enjoyed it. Definitely make sure you are sharing this with other people and getting them inoculated to the industry and stuff. And shoot, let me know. Give me some feedback, good and bad. Did you like the show? Did you not? Did you think it's funny? Caesar, stop cracking jokes. You're terribad. All that stuff. And then until next time, keep bringing the rain.
I am focused, I'm in my zone. You can binge watch like Game of Thrones. Preserve your judgments, don't throw no stones. Who's and I scream as loud as you don't. Airplane mode on tablets and phones. Caesar's crowd pleasers is now on. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. If you need to pick me up, ladies, we gon' change your demeanor. Caesar, the crowd pleaser. We gon' do a little dance, we gon' make the naysayers believe us.